Hello, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this presentation. My name is Kendra and I'm a registered psychotherapist. I've been working with children, adolescents, teens, adults, and parents for over 12 years in primary healthcare and private practice. When I first started my role, I spent the greater part of my time with children one-on-one, using play and art to teach them about their emotions and how to manage them. However, over time, I realized that just teaching children the strategies to manage their big feelings wasn't working. This set me on a path to learn more about what was happening in children's brains and how to better support them. I'm a peaceful parent coach and trained in understanding the brain-body connection. Part of my practice is working one-on-one with parents to share my learning and teach them how to support their children in a way that many of us weren't parented as children ourselves. I want to acknowledge that throughout this presentation, worry may show up for you. Worry about doing something wrong, or regret for past decisions, or our fears of not being a good parent. I want to invite you to remember that as parents, we do the best we can with what we know in that moment. Today, you might learn something new that will cause you to move forward in a different direction, but feeling guilty will only cause you to get stuck in the past and impact your ability to move forward. Let's face it, we as parents are great at worrying about our kids. How are they performing in school? Are they safe walking home from their friend's house? Should I limit video gaming? We're also full of good advice. You better start your homework before the weekend because we have that camping trip coming up. Or, when kids are mean to you on the playground, you just have to ignore and walk away. But what happens when our children start to show more than average hesitation about normal activities? What happens when they start expressing a degree of fearfulness that seems exaggerated for the circumstance? Suddenly, your child is afraid of anything related to fire, or they don't want to close their eyes unless you stay until they fall asleep, or maybe they have slowly been refusing to go to school. It started with staying in bed past the alarm, and then moved to stomach aches, and now there are more days than not when they're too sick to go to school, and you're dealing with daily tantrums. Worry is exhausting for everybody. When worry is in charge, parents can feel like they're going in circles. You fix one problem and another pops up. Even though worry has its place, it can easily overstep usefulness. Worry becomes problematic just like any other pattern can when it's used in excess, in the wrong places, and at the wrong times. There are normal worries in childhood, but trouble ensues when they linger, when momentary hesitations become incessant worries, and children become increasingly anxious and stop moving forward. Here's a fact that you might find surprising. Research shows that anxious children can learn patterns of worry from parents who are only trying to help. Our most common responses to our scared and worried children can end up encouraging them to remain frightened. Some of the most common mistakes we make are convincing kids that nothing bad is going to happen and that they don't need to worry, reassuring them by over-detailing our schedules or the exact nature of upcoming events, telling them everything will be fine and to just calm down, altering family plans and school activities to accommodate their fear and keep them comfortable, allowing them to see our own anxious behaviors without role modeling any coping strategies, or becoming frustrated and angry and making unreasonable demands for the child to just do it.
We're going to use our hand to make a model of our brain. Hold up your hand like this. We start with our wrist and palm. This represents our brainstem. Now, fold your thumb into your palm, just like this. Can you do that? Your thumb represents the amygdala. These parts of our brain, our brainstem and our amygdala, are some of the earliest parts of our brain to develop and sometimes get the nickname of lizard brain. Now that we have our amygdala, wrap your fingers over your thumb to make a fist, just like this. These fingers represent our upper brain. Back here is our cerebellum. That keeps us balanced. Up top, we have our cerebrum. That helps us think and speak. And right up front, we have the prefrontal cortex, which helps us make smart decisions. This is our hand-brain model, and it's a great symbol of our brain. It's not exactly what the brain looks like, but it can help us communicate things about our brain and how we're feeling. Like, look at this. See how our cerebrum and prefrontal cortex wrap snugly over our amygdala, keeping it nice and secure? When our prefrontal cortex is in control, we feel happy, calm, and focused. We are ready to do our best learning. But we don't always feel that way, do we? Sometimes we feel upset or angry or frustrated, or too excited. Sometimes we even feel so silly, it feels like we're losing control of our bodies. And that's okay. We all have times where our emotions take over and we have a hard time focusing and making smart decisions. When we feel this way, it's because our amygdala is in control. We can represent this by opening our palm to show our amygdala. It's kind of like saying, I flipped my lid, and now my amygdala is in control. Right now, we can't even see the prefrontal cortex. Our hand-brain model gives us a great way to communicate which part of our brain is in control. And that's really important because when our amygdala takes control, we have a very hard time focusing. The amygdala is great at emotions, but not so great at making decisions.
The hand-brain model is a great tool to help us understand and explain to our children what's happening in their brains and bodies when they're experiencing big emotions. I even refer to the concept of flipping my lid when I'm describing my children's behavior or even my own. I'm going to go a little deeper than what the video explains in relation to worry. This slide depicts a kid-friendly version of the polyvagal theory, which was developed by Dr. Stephen Porges. At the bottom of the ladder, you will see social engagement, also known as the green zone. When our lid is on, meaning our smart part can talk to our emotional part, we're in social engagement, feeling joyful, calm, present in the moment, curious, and ready to learn. When we flip our lid, we have the option to fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, or the red zone, is when we move towards the threat. As you will see on the right of the ladder, a fight response in children can look like verbal or hands-on behavior like yelling, biting, swearing, kicking, or throwing things, being controlling or demanding, blaming or deflecting responsibility, defiance, or feeling irritable, angry, offended, or aggressive. Flight, also in the red zone, is when we distance ourselves from the threat. The flight response in children can look like running away, being unfocused, fidgety, restless, or hyperactive, being preoccupied or busy with everything except the thing they should be doing, procrastinating or ignoring the situation, or feeling anxious, panicked, worried, or overwhelmed. Freeze, also known as the blue zone, is when we're unable to move. The freeze response in children can look like shutting down or having a blank mind, feeling the urge to hide or isolate, being verbally unresponsive and saying "I don't know" a lot, having difficulty completing tasks, zoning out or daydreaming, feeling stuck, depressed, numb, or bored. Any one of the responses, fight, flight, or freeze, can be initiated by the amygdala when worry is at play. The prefrontal cortex, also known as the smart part or thinking part of the brain, is where worry starts. These worries can usually sound like what-if thoughts. What if I have to get a needle at the doctor's? What if there's a fight on the bus? What if my parents get a divorce? What if I get called on at school? Worry grabs onto the imagination and starts thinking about what if as if it was really happening right now. It's then the amygdala's job to let you and your body know if you're in danger. It's the brain's alarm center. The amygdala does not know about school buses, parents arguing, bullies, storms, the doctor. All the amygdala knows is that worry sent it a danger message, and it's the amygdala's job to prepare your body for fight, flight, or freeze. The problem with worry is that it can send false alarms, so your poor body thinks it's in danger when it's not. This is how worry bosses us around. So, in an effort to not feel the physical sensations that worry causes your child to feel, they may say, "I don't want to go to the doctor's. I don't want to go to school. I'm just going to skip riding the bus." The more we listen to worry, the bigger it gets. The amygdala is very loyal and very dependable. When it gets a danger message, it goes right to work by sending a message to the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands start spraying this stuff through your body called norepinephrine, which then sends messages to the rest of your body to get you ready for danger. Your blood sugar levels rise, your pupils dilate so you can see what's going on around you, sweat glands perspire, your heart rate increases, and your muscles tense. I'm going to show you a quick video of this. What's important to take away from the video is that when the amygdala is activated, it is responding to the what-if thought in the same way as it would if there was an actual threat. As a parent, we often minimize the worry or look at our children's worries as insignificant or not a big deal. However, their nervous system is reacting as if there is a real threat, and an invalidating reaction from us can actually make things worse. The reaction of the amygdala and the resulting body sensations are all normal life-saving changes that occur when the emergency switch is flipped. But what if you don't understand why your body is reacting this way? Maybe you think it's wrong or dangerous. Then you become anxious, which further exaggerates the fight or flight response. Your heart might skip a beat or beat irregularly. Your stomach may feel as though it's tied in knots. Your hands, arms, and legs may shake, or you may feel dizzy. You may have difficulty catching your breath. You may feel pain or tightness in your chest. Your jaw, neck, or shoulders might feel tight or stiff. Your mouth may become dry. You may have difficulty swallowing. You may get a headache. You might bite your nails, or your hands and feet may get restless, cold, sweaty, or numb. No wonder our children start to avoid situations that provoke this set of changes. They don't expect it. They don't understand it. They're frightened by it. And whatever it takes, they want to get rid of it. That's one of the primary reasons why kids worry. They are anticipating the upcoming event that may make them feel out of control again. We need to start by helping our children understand worry. They need to hear that being afraid is okay and even right. Fear and anxiety are protective mechanisms. We are supposed to worry. Worry helps us think about our actions, back away from dangers, or fight for our lives. Sometimes worry just takes things overboard. I want to share with you some interesting facts about brain development. The brain develops back to front. While you're in utero, your survival brain is developing more rapidly, and this is so when you come into the world, you can breathe, pump your heart, survive on your own. The smart part of the brain does not fully develop until about 26 to 28 years old. This doesn't mean you can't use the smart part, but it's not developed to its full potential. This explains why it's harder for children to put their lids back on once they've been flipped. It also explains why things seem like a bigger deal to our children, like when toast is cut the wrong way or we give them the wrong color cup. In early to mid-adolescence, brain systems that process emotions and seek rewards are more developed than the smart part. This explains why adolescents and teenagers are more likely to be impulsive, influenced by short-term rewards, and heavily impacted by their emotions. Some humans have bigger amygdalas and flip their lids more often. If the adult has also flipped their lid, it will be impossible for safety to be created. As a result, caring adults need to act as the substitute smart part for children throughout their development and even in the teenage years when risk-taking increases. So now that you're equipped with all of this information, I'm certain you're wondering, where do I go from here? For the remainder of this webinar, I will be referring to the step-by-step plan to solve the puzzle of anxious avoidant kids outlined in the book, Anxious Kids, Anxious Parents. We're going to explore the puzzle pieces that need to be in place for you to be successful in stopping the worry cycle. The first piece of the puzzle is to expect to worry. We do this by shifting the way you and your child react to worry by normalizing worry's arrival and predicting when worry is likely to make an appearance. Many worried children believe that everybody else handles new and challenging situations worry-free. When we understand that worried thoughts and feelings are a normal part of the process, we can give ourselves permission to move forward. Increased worry goes hand in hand with our persistence that the uncertain world must follow by our rigid expectations. As soon as we decide that a new activity must go exactly our way, the pressure and tension expand and overwhelm us. When you insist on an outcome that cannot be guaranteed, worry will begin to dominate. If worry cannot be sure and certain on the outcome, then we back away or avoid the activity. The table shows 5 different categories of times that worry might show up. When we're trying something new, when we're unsure of plans, when there are a lot of what-if questions, when we're performing, or when something scary is happening. There are two possible approaches we can take when worry shows up. You can tell yourself you're too anxious and rely on that worried gut instinct, which results in a fight, flight, or freeze response. Or you can remind yourself that feeling worried is normal because you're learning something new, you want to do well, and you don't yet know exactly how you'll navigate these new challenges. Many anxious families treat the normal arrival of worry as breaking news and often escalate right alongside their child. Rather, it's a parent's job to model how common and expected these feelings can be. The dialogue on this slide illustrates the essential shift that we must make. Worry is normal, common, and part of growing and living. Worry can sometimes serve a valuable purpose, but worry always thinks it's being helpful, even when it's not. By learning how worry operates, you can coach your child on when to ignore those normal and expected worried thoughts and when to pay attention to them. Although we expect anxiety to be part of life, we do not accept that anxiety must permanently rule your family and your child. The next 6 puzzle pieces are going to ask you and your child to take unfamiliar action and experience discomfort. This puzzle piece addresses the common problem of listening to what worry has to say and believing it without question. Most worriers experience the majority of their anxious thoughts as helpful and protective, and sometimes they are, but being able to recognize that there's a difference between helpful information and the dominating unhelpful chatter of anxiety requires a different tactic called externalization. Externalization puts the anxious worry outside of you, allowing you to see the worry and its messages from a different perspective. With the help of a little distance, worriers can hear and see how anxiety operates without immediately accepting the validity of its fears and demands. As a result, we can gain some control and talk back to the worried part. To help your child externalize their worried part, you can ask them to draw a picture of it and even name it. When you or your child notice that it's worry talking, you can choose 3 broad ways to talk back to it. When we assume or expect that worry will show up, we can say to our worried part, "Worry is a part of learning something new. I'm supposed to feel this way." Or, when we notice the worried part show up, we can offer reassurance and take care of it by saying, "I'm safe, even though I feel scared." Or, if your child is annoyed or bothered by the worried chatter, they can boss it around by saying something like, "You're ruining my fun. I've had it with you." These are some pictures that kids have drawn for me to represent their worried part. Often parents fall into traps, which involves them doing more to make their worried child feel better. More explaining, more reassuring, more accommodation, and more comforting. As we move through the puzzle pieces, I'm going to encourage you to move out of the role of explainer and fixer and into the role of supporter and coach. Your child needs you to take charge and start learning how to talk to worry by finding their own voice and using yours less. To do this, you must remain consistent and calm, acknowledge worry's presence and how uncomfortable your child feels, be clear that you're no longer going to give worry what it wants or fall for its tricks, remind your child to externalize and talk back to their worried part. The goal is to let your child step away from worry, talk to it, and then do the internal work that leads to independent problem solving. The first piece of the puzzle was to expect to worry. You've probably figured out that when you worry, you should also expect to feel anxious. To win over anxiety, we must add the third puzzle piece, to be unsure and uncomfortable on purpose. How, might you ask? To get your child to see that being uncertain and uncomfortable is an important part of growing, there are 2 things you have to do. First, pay attention to what you model for your child about handling uncertainty and risk, and then recognize and address the use and misuse of crutches. I will talk about both of these more on the next 2 slides. Research tells us that our relationship with anxiety and uncertainty and how we model this in front of our children significantly impacts how they see the world. As adults, we are routinely faced with situations that require us to step into uncertainty. Some may be simple, like what to make for dinner, whereas others may be more complex, like deciding to leave a job for another, or deciding which car is a better purchase, or deciding whether or not to talk to your child's teacher or let your child handle it on their own. Consider how you are modeling during these decision-making processes. Are you seeking certainty as your highest priority? Do you aim to find the perfect answer? If so, these decisions may be time-consuming and overwhelming. If complete safety isn't your top priority, you accept that being uncomfortable and feeling challenged is part of moving ahead. I draw your attention to the two examples in the chart. On the left, the person is seeking certainty when making a decision, whereas on the right, the person is allowing discomfort while seeking a decision. Courage is when we willingly move forward even if we don't know how it's going to turn out, or when we predict we're going to feel uncomfortable. This leads to problem solving, and when we teach kids how to problem solve, it helps reduce the chances of them developing an anxiety disorder. The skill of reaching out for support is important when we tackle new adventures. It allows us to feel safe and secure when we take risks. This helps us to develop a sense of personal control. Nightlights, blankets, and stuffies are all examples of crutches that young children use in a normal and helpful way. But as soon as the need to feel in control and secure consistently becomes top priority, a crutch is no longer a normal part of developing and growing. When seeking security from a crutch becomes more important than exploring, when your child starts to hesitate, become dependent on others, and back away from adventures, then there is a problem. I know as a parent that we don't want our children to suffer, but children need to push through insecurities, not get rid of them. If as parents we try to take away their pain by attempting to eliminate their insecurities instead of teaching them to be courageous, then before you know it, you'll be sitting in their bedroom every night until they've fallen asleep, driving them to school instead of putting them on the bus, or giving them your moment-to-moment schedule when you leave to run an errand. In doing this, we're essentially telling our children, "You're right, you can't handle it." So ask yourself, am I promoting independence or am I encouraging dependence? At times, accommodation plans at school can act as a crutch, and so we would want to make sure the crutch has a weaning off plan, a step-by-step plan for your child to move into the challenge. Crutches for a broken leg are meant to support until we've recovered or built strength, but in the world of worry, crutches tend to increase worry instead of decrease it because we attribute our ability to handle the danger to the external crutch rather than our own coping abilities. Crutches are neither good nor bad until we view them in the context for which they're being used. I'd like to draw your attention to the three different categories of crutches: actions, people, or things. The brain is a magnificent and complicated structure. When children understand what's happening inside their brains and bodies, they're less overwhelmed by their thoughts and physical sensations. It doesn't matter to the amygdala if the situation isn't really dangerous. It's a primitive structure simply doing what it's told. Think about a smoke detector. When there's smoke, it beeps loudly. It doesn't have different types of beeps to signal different levels of danger. For the smoke detector, smoke means sound the alarm, regardless of the source or amount of the smoke. The same goes for the amygdala. A danger message means sound the alarm, even if the danger is more imagined than real. The latest research tells us that when you seek out discomfort and uncertainty, you can diminish anxiety. How, you might ask? By resetting the amygdala, the alarm center of the brain. When confronted with the unknown, worriers talk to themselves in ways that set off the alarm center and the body responds accordingly. When this happens repeatedly, the fight or flight alarm center develops a bit of a hair trigger. The result? Lots of false alarms, lots of fear, and lots of backing away from activities in order to feel safe and comfortable. If you do the opposite and face these challenges using a new set of skills, like voluntarily and purposely seeking out uncertainty and discomfort, you can quiet down the amygdala and generate fewer false alarms. This is something we call retraining the brain. It takes practice and repetition for the brain to learn, but given the opportunity to hear different responses, it will learn. Have you seen the movie Inside Out? Not only is watching the movie with your child a great way to begin the conversation of externalization, this clip shows how the different parts of the brain, disgust, sadness, anger, joy, and fear, work together under certain anxiety-provoking situations.
We're getting close. I can feel it. There it is. Here's our new house. And... maybe it's nice on the inside.
We're supposed to live here?
I'm telling you, it smells like something died in here.
Can you die from moving?
Guys, you're overreacting. Nobody is dying.
A dead mouse!
Ah, great.
I'm gonna be
It's
sick.
the house of the dead. What are we gonna do? We're gonna get rabies.
Get off of me!
Hey. All through the drive, Dad talked about how cool our new room is. Let's go check it out.
It's gonna be great. Yes. No.
I'm starting to envy the dead mouse.
Get out the rubber ball. We're in solitary confinement.
Riley can't live here.
He's right.
The worst.
Really bad.
It's absolutely the worst.
This house
It's the
stinks.
worst place I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah.
Hey, it's nothing our butterfly curtains couldn't fix. I read somewhere that an empty room is an opportunity.
Where did you read that?
It doesn't matter. I read it, and it's great. We'll put the bed there and the desk over there.
The hockey lamp goes there.
Put the chair there.
Well, the trophy collection.
over
The
there.
poster there.
Stars.
We need more
Yeah, I
photos.
like that.
Now we're talking. Let's go get our stuff from the moving van.
All right. Goodbye. Well, guess what? The moving van won't be here until Thursday.
You're kidding.
I
van
signed
is
a contract.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst. The van is lost. I've been movers.
You said it would be here yesterday.
I know that's what I said. That's what they told me.
They're stressed
Together.
out.
They are stressed out.
What are we gonna do?
What is their problem?
I've got a great idea! Did you even read the contract?
Anderson makes her move. She's closing in.
Hey. Oh, no, you're
She's
not.
lining up for the shot.
Coming behind you. Watch out.
She
Watch out.
scored! Yeah!
Grandma. Grandma? Uh-oh, she put her hair up. We're in for it. Hey! Put me down.
Sorry. Hold on. Hello?
Wait,
You're kidding. Stall for me. I'll be right there. The investor's supposed to show up on Thursday, not today. I gotta go.
It's okay. We get it.
You're the best. Thanks, hon. See you, sweetie.
Dad just left us.
Oh, he doesn't love us anymore. That's sad. I should drive, right? Joy, what are you doing?
just give me 1 second. You know what I've realized? Riley hasn't had lunch. Remember?
Hey, I saw a pizza place down the street. Maybe we could try that.
Pizza sounds delicious.
Pizza?
Yes,
Right
pizza.
on. That's good.
What the heck is
Who
that?
puts broccoli on pizza?
That's it. I'm done.
Congratulations, San Francisco. You've ruined pizza. First the Hawaiians, and now you.
This puzzle piece is the part of the plan that is designed to give you and your child the opportunity to pause, reboot, and get back on track. Instead of a fake pill or a magic potion that comes from the outside, a breathing skill is an internal resource that can build a child's independence. Keep in mind that relaxing by itself is not the treatment, it's just one piece of the puzzle. Our breathing can signal that we're in danger, even if we're safe. Deep breathing is one of the best ways to lower stress in the body. This is because when you breathe deeply, it sends a message to your brain to calm down and relax, and then the brain sends this message to your body. Pay attention to your child's breathing and help them notice that their increasing breath can be incorrectly signaling to their body that they're in danger when they're actually in a safe space. By helping your child to understand why the symptoms show up and how to respond to them differently, you begin to shape a different plan for your family. If incorporating a new breathing skill can help to manage distress, then this piece of the puzzle will increase your child's sense of mastery and autonomy. When it comes to kids and worry, refusing to try a new or difficult activity creates a major hurdle. For example, you may have heard your child say something like, "It's okay, I don't really want to go to the birthday party that much anyway," or "I don't really feel like trying out for soccer anymore." You may even know that your child wants to participate, but the worry convinces them it's not worth the inevitable and uncomfortable struggle. Anxious kids are quick to deny and push away their desires as a means of managing their worries because it's too disappointing and painful to want an outcome, but then allow worry to convince them it's not possible. So instead of wishing they could go to the birthday party, they make a deal with worry. I'll just stop wanting this stuff and then I won't have to feel bad about what I'm missing. The next piece of the puzzle, Know What You Want, explains how kids can move through this predictable obstacle. Asking kids to step into worry can be a hard sell, but it's vital to take this action because worry must be present in order for them to learn to manage it. So, how do you help your child identify and begin to invest energy into goals they've been pushing aside? Talk to them about their interests, what they wish they could do, or what they might be missing. Ask your child, if your worry had no power over you, what would you want to do? Where would you imagine going? What activity sounds fun to you? When we need our child to cooperate with certain expectations, like going to school, sleeping in their own beds, taking the bus because we can't be late for work, we can frame it as a family goal that is important to address because putting worry in charge is not working for several members of the family. A family-oriented goal might sound like, I'm willing to take the bus because mom needs to get to work on time. The approach is not about making your child feel responsible for your needs. Anxious children can be overly focused on their own feelings and demands without realizing the ripple effect. As parents, we can also role model how we've managed worry by telling the stories of goals we've had, the steps we took, the setbacks, the moments we didn't think we would get there, and how we kept ourselves going. We can also talk with our children about current goals, big and small, and how we're navigating the steps to achieve them. Worry gains ground by disrupting our memory retrieval system, by discarding or minimizing what we've handled before. This keeps our mind off past successes and pokes holes in our confidence. The next puzzle piece, Bridge Back to Your Successes, helps challenge the worried part's amnesia by creating helpful reminder bridges that connect children back to their successes, which then enables them to build on those experiences. We can help our children create reminder bridges by using their worries as a trigger to remember a past skill. In this way, the worried thought can remind them that they need to stop for a bit, regroup, back away, and problem solve. Once they have paused, reminder bridges can be used to access the thoughts, ideas, and memories that kids can use and reuse as they face challenges. However, some kids will not naturally or automatically be able to come up with a reminder bridge. In order to model the strategy of constructing a reminder bridge, start by showing your child this is a natural process we all go through. Share examples from your own life. How have you managed an uncomfortable new situation by recalling a past success? Children benefit from hearing and watching what adults do well. We want kids to know that when worry shows up, one of the helpful and routine patterns to practice looks like this. Worry for a moment, then immediately bridge back to my success and move on. A worksheet like the table here can allow children to see how they've already used a skill in their lives and how it applies in other areas. The goal is to come up with two important conclusions. I have experience with this kind of event. I think I can handle it. You now have all the strategies to dethrone anxiety, and so the last puzzle piece, Take Action on Your Plan, provides a mean for scaffolding the action. The research is clear that children and parents must take action in order to retrain the fearful child's brain and to start experiencing different outcomes within the family. To move toward independence and courage, together you can pick a situation that causes distress and take these active steps. Step 1. Review the puzzle pieces. You could write down each of the 7 puzzle pieces on separate index cards and then write down examples for each piece. For example, on the Expect to Worry card, you might write, Worry is going to show up. It's a normal part of the process. Or, for the Bridge Back to Successes card, you could write, Worry makes me forget by sprinkling worry dust on my brain, but when I focus on my successes, worry gets smaller. Step 2. Create an imaginary worry scenario by choosing an anxiety-provoking scene to practice putting the puzzle pieces together. This imaginary scenario would not be directly related to your child's specific worries. It could even come from a book or a movie. Together, you could talk through each puzzle piece and how it would be applied. Step 3. Repeat that process with a past situation which allows your child a chance for a redo. Help them identify a situation they struggled with in the past, but it's not currently a problem, and discuss how they might respond differently if they engaged in the puzzle pieces. Step 4. Create a plan and take action on the upsetting event by selecting a real-life issue that is challenging for your child. The process remains the same. Imagine a scenario of your child engaging in that event sometime in the future, and then, guided by the puzzle pieces, envision how the scene could unfold, keeping your focus on what your child can do to move forward. This slide depicts the game plan, a worksheet that you can use with your child to work through the steps of a goal that they have, but worry is getting in the way of. Please feel free to pause the video and take a screenshot. Listed here are some resources that I find helpful when working with kiddos. Please Explain Anxiety to Me by Lori and Jordan Zellinger helps children and parents understand the biological and emotional components of anxiety responsible for the upsetting symptoms they experience. Worry Says What by Allison Edwards gives a glimpse into the ways worry whispers to young minds and offers an example of externalizing worries so children can see how to talk back to their worried part. You can find this story being read on YouTube. And if you like podcasts, Lynn Lyons, the author of the book referenced in this webinar, also has a podcast for parents called Flusterclux. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this webinar. I hope that it's provided you with some aha moments. If you'd like to learn more, you can reach out to me directly through email at hello@kendrawagnercounseling.com. Take really good care.